Hi, I'm Scott Wilson, and you're watching the Eagles' Last Stand. You're really watching the Eagles' Last Stand? Wow.
When I come around, got the whole thing wobbing.
And we're back for another episode of the Eagles' Last Stand. I'm Josh Sardam, your host, and this is the Quarantine Chronicles. That's right. We're once again back here shuffling around, and I'm reaching out to all my comedy friends and club owners and bookers and underwear salesmen. And we are talking today with a good friend of mine. We actually did a show together at the Caravan last year. That's where I met this gentleman. He's fantastic, really funny guy. He's got a new album coming out. Everybody welcome Gabe Kea, man. Gabe, welcome to the show, man.
Hey, good to be here. I'm in my garage. That's my Corona studio right there. Got a spreader. We got a hockey net and some artwork. A little bit of artwork there.
You got a hockey net?
I do. This is like I made this myself right there. That's boom. I made a little hockey net of my own with PVC, some PVC tubes. Homemade hockey net. That's how Canadians do it. We make our own. And
you're Canadian?
I am Canadian. Yes,
yeah.
Both parents Canadian. I'm American. Both actually, my mom and my sister. My mom and my sister both born in Toronto. Neither of them got stimulus checks because they are really Canadian, and I'm just like fake Canadian. I still got the stimulus check. What up?
Well, you pay tax.
I was born in Atlanta, Georgia. I was here as the mission was to have me in the United States of America, so I could be a citizen. I'm an anchor baby. That's basically what I am. Yep.
Do you have a citizenship in Canada as well, or no?
I do. I have a social insurance number, which is like a social security number, but I don't have any residency up there, so I'm not like paying any taxes or working up there currently. I could work there theoretically, but I don't. So I do have Canadian citizenship, but it's pretty loose. It's a piece of paper and an argument I can have with like a border guy. That's about it.
Which they wouldn't argue with you. It's never a problem getting into Canada. It's always leaving Canada where you have a problem because you're talking to the United States custom guy.
Yes. Yeah. But then I'm ready with my passport, and I know the exact questions. I make fun of, if he's from Michigan, I make fun of Ohio. He's from New York, I'll make fun of like Pennsylvania or New Jersey. That's how I talk to the border guy. It's like crowd work 101. That's how you get through the border, honestly. It's a profession. I swear it is a profession because there's people that like work in Buffalo or live in Buffalo and like work up in Canada. They go through it every day, I'm sure.
Right.
They know exactly what to say.
Yeah, no, I mean, you figure that's got to be a profession somewhere, and they got to live somewhere, right?
Oh yeah, no, and the people that are questioning the border guys, that's definitely a profession. Or one time it was a border girl that I was like, she's kind of cute. I remember every time I was like, I'm going up to Sarnia because there's that one girl that I remember running into. Never ran into her again, but
no, they rotate.
Always had like that dream that I'd be like waking up at a border gal's house. No, that's
What's the new album you got coming out? What's that called?
It's called Dumber Than a Fish is the name of the album, and it's tagged. It's a line in one of my jokes, and it's me basically. I'm dumber than a fish. That's the idea of it. But it's basically my act. It's my first album. I've been doing stand-up for like 16 years. I'm one of these old road hacks that's been around for a long time, using a lot of the same act, and I finally put it down on an album. So now I don't have an excuse to venture onto new things and change my act up a little bit. That's what it's about.
So that's what happens when you finally put it like on vinyl. Then you have to get your act up.
No, it's honestly, it might have been my hesitation. I was like always like, oh, maybe I'm just not good enough. And it was like, no, you just know you're not going to be able to do those jokes after you're selling them at that moment in your set where you're like, hey, most of these jokes are different. And when you when you know that they're all the same, you're like, this is exactly what you guys heard tonight. I can't tell you. I can't honestly tell you right now as I'm selling it, but this is it. I mean, there's 2 new ones. That's 2020 and 2021. That's when I wrote a new joke. No, it is hard. I mean, honestly, that's what I'd say to someone that's starting out doing comedy. Because when you're starting out doing comedy, it's really easy to write new material because you're probably really bad and you don't even know it. But once you get pretty good and you've got some jokes that actually work, it's hard to work the new ones in there because you know how those other ones like hit so nicely. That I was thinking about that with like coming back to comedy, is like I take time off every once in a while and sometimes a couple months, and you're a little rusty when you come back and you haven't done it in a few months, and you're just like, oh, this is my first show in a while. And I was thinking, I was like, that's how everybody's going to be when they get back. Like, it's just going to be like a level playing field for those first 2 or 3 shows. But then the pros will pick it. The pros will be like, oh, okay, I know it. I remember this.
Right. Yeah, I've got this quarantine dream of like somehow the majority of the comics don't want to come back to comedy because they learned their lesson after quarantine. And all these clubs are like ringing my phone off the hook going, we need you, can you come on? I'm like, oh, yes, I'll do it. Okay.
I've been waiting. I've been on the bench here waiting.
I've been clawing and scratching to get into every door, and now they're all open for me. Yeah.
It's amazing how my optimism has changed as we've gotten further into this. Like at first I was like, oh, everything will just get rebooked. It'll just be back a few weeks. It'll be all the same places. They'll rebook me in the same stuff and it'll just be back. And then a little bit further time went on and I was like, oh, well, I mean, I'll still get those weeks. I'll still get all that stuff will still happen. And now I'm like, I don't even know. Right. I got to start booking bar shows and like hoping that things actually pan out, because I think anybody that's the good news is you get to see who's paying rent, right? Like the people that are invested with this, with rent, and aren't just like show producers that really don't have any skin in the game other than just booking comedians, you know? It really shows you that those old school, and for me, it was like always the guy at my home club that was like telling me, he's like, you're not good enough for the longest time. And I became that person probably for like a lot of younger guys in the scene. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I became the guy that's like, no, you're not ready. And they're like, Kea doesn't know what he's talking about. You can just you can do this, and this, and you'll get there. But there's like more reality to that now that we see like who can weather this storm. And then, obviously, if you're not paying rent, it's easier to weather the storm, you know? But
I think the majority of the club owners, you're paying either some type of leasing agreement, rent, or you know they've got a mortgage on the place, depending on what it is, if it's freestanding or not. But I mean,
yeah, and those are the people that are going to have to be. Those are the people that need help right now. They need people like doing GoFundMe pages to keep them afloat because they're not able to do anything to bring in any money, and they still have to pay their bills. You know, and then there's the people that they're just being quiet right now. They're not saying anything. They're not giving. Maybe they're giving away some stuff. You know, it's good to give even if you're in the business of entertainment and you're paying a lot of rent, you still need to give some stuff away to look, you know, to just have the PR of that you're like contributing and you're helping through hard times, you know?
Yeah.
Which is hard to say because it's like telling people like, hey, you should have had stuff saved up. And like no one is really in that situation where I was like, I was prepared for a global pandemic, you know.
We got a small club that just opened here in Georgetown called the Laughing Skull. And
I've seen it. I've seen it a lot.
You know, I don't know how they're gonna fare because they're like brand spanky new, and They were struggling to get people in there to begin with. But I know that's not the owner's primary source of income. So maybe they can just kind of work a deal out with the strip mall and just shut it down for the time being. And then when they can open back up, resume as scheduled. But I've actually had a couple of the club owners on there. I had the owner of Porky's recently, just tonight. That's in St. Cloud, Florida. It's not his main gig, but you know he definitely wants it back open. But it's not how he earns his money. He actually works for the school system down there. And then the owner of Wiley's in Dayton, Don Smith. Again, not his main gig, but you know he wants it back open. And what's funny is when you listen to both club owners, they both miss their staff, you know, and it's really good that they're both worried about their staff and hoping that their staff is okay. Because whether that's not the owner's main gig, but a lot of time with these clubs, that's their staff's main gig. Like Causes in Newport News, Virginia, they're not going to be back open until June. And Lorraine's staff, that's like their main gig. That's how they earn their money, and they're all unemployed now. And of course, she's batshit worried about them. But I mean, yeah, there's going to be some clubs out there that are just tits up after this.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard on the, but any of the staff really need to take because you gotta apply for unemployment. You know, like I'm doing stand-up comedy and I work at a restaurant part-time. So the restaurant closed down too, right? So I have a lot of my income coming from that, but they opened for carryout probably a week later, and I got a job doing carryout there. So I'm still working, and thankfully I'm working in a good environment where I'm making enough money. But I applied for unemployment right away, and then they also sent me they're like, we need your social security number doesn't match the social security number we have. We need to see your social security card. And it's like one of those things that's just like a hoop they make you jump through to quit, basically, to like not try to get unemployment. They probably do one out of 10 people. I don't know. I'm not it's not a conspiracy theory. It's just, I think it's the way it works. And, but I worked it all out, and my unemployment is filed. I'm on there. But I make enough money where I get $0. It kind of just zeroes out. So.
Right. Yeah, like my main source of income, was comedy, and then I worked part-time at Comedy Off Broadway as security there. Well, Comedy Off Broadway is not open anymore, so that was the only thing I could apply for. And for the longest time, while unemployment, they were saying you don't make enough money. I was like, I know that, I'm a comic.
Yeah, exactly, and you're not reporting. It's I don't know. I wasn't able to report any of my comedy income to the unemployment. You have to do like a small business 1099 loan thing, which a lot of people are having issues with, from haircuts to anything. So I'm kind of lucky that I wasn't just a comedian. You know what I mean? Because I wouldn't have any. If I was just doing stand up week in and week out and making what I made from doing both jobs, I just wouldn't be able to collect any unemployment. Would be the reality. But you probably would be able to. But I think in Ohio, it looks like in August they're going to have it figured out so they can reimburse 1099 people, which is kind of crazy to be like, oh, by the way, we're shutting everything down March. Saturday night, everything was open. Sunday, everything's closed. We'll figure that out in August.
Yeah.
It's a little insane. And I can imagine there's people in bad situations. I've tried to reach out to fellow comics and people that I know that it's funny because they're usually people that are a little more successful than me. They're always getting booked. They're always booked. So I'm like, you're hurting right now. That's kind of funny. The dynamic there. It's like, you're usually doing really well, which means you're probably doing bad right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird situation. Thankfully, Kentucky considered the 1099s like right away. So
they fixed that, right? That's awesome for Kentucky.
They really, I mean, there's some. I think he said something like our governor does a press conference every day at 5. I mean, every day he's on TV at 5.
Yeah. Dude, he's a rock star. I went to get Greek food at this little takeout place there, and they had a Brashear t-shirt. The girl had a Brashear t-shirt on. I was like, this guy is a rock star. And also DeWine's doing a good job up here in Ohio. I mean, I probably politically we're like opposites, but I have nothing but good things to say about the way he's taking care of everything. And he's doing pretty much what Brashear is doing and what Indiana is doing. Kentucky, Ohio, and Indiana are all doing great jobs, I think.
Yeah, that's what I understand. And you know what I really like about what he said was he doesn't care about Democrat or Republican. He's just trying to take care of Kentuckians. And honestly, I think what this pandemic brought out is if your governor actually has leadership ability or not. Because I mean, can you imagine being in charge of a state? Because I mean, anywhere else in the world, a state is a country. You know, like that is a different country. Like you go into Russia and you see all those little states that are there that are independent of, you know, they might be part of the whole conglomerate, but they're independent countries. And these guys are in charge of their own constitution and everything, and it's all on their shoulders. So, I mean, you know, they say cream rises to the top. So, I mean, I think the three governors that you mentioned, I think they're all doing a great job. And it's impressive to see that they really just kind of said, you know, screw you, we're going to do what we know is right for the people, and we don't care about our political alignment. I mean, this guy just reached across the aisle and didn't give a shit. He just needed answers, he needed help. He didn't care what side of the aisle it came from.
And I knew that was, I actually commented on it to some people. I said, you know what's going to happen is we're going to close down here in Cincinnati, and Newport is just going to blow up. It's going to be like, everybody that wants to party or think that it's not a big deal, they're all going to just go down to Newport.
Right.
And then the day after, they're like, nope, Kentucky's going along with it. So they like stopped that dynamic from happening, which is, I think it was good because it's just an attitude. And if you're doing it right, if you're doing it before you need to do it, right, before you see the actual pain and the Italy and the things that are going on at the hospitals, which almost happened in New York and kind of did, but
it was close.
Ohio acted, Kentucky acted well ahead of time when obviously you're going to get some people that freak out. It's just like the mask thing. People are going to freak out about wearing masks. They're like, I don't want to wear no goddamn mask or whatever. Just do whatever you have to do to make other people around you feel comfortable. Nobody knows who's got it. Right. I'm not tested.
Yeah.
I could have it. I could have it right now. We don't know. You know?
You could they said there's a certain portion of the population that's probably immune to it, but you're still a carrier. You know? So I mean, like I personally think I had it back in December. And because like I was exhausted, my throat was sore. I felt like I had a weight on my chest for like a week and a half, and it was like, God, what is this? And I thought it was the flu. Went and got tested for the flu. They said it was negative for the flu. So they're like, you know, maybe it's just upper respiratory. And so I think I've already had it because I mean, it's been in this country since 2019. It's just we didn't know what it was, you know?
Yeah, I've heard stories like that where people are like, now that I look back, I went to the doctor. They said it might be bronchitis. They're not looking for COVID-19 back then, you know?
Yeah, there was no test. Shit, I mean, the test they have now that isn't really, I mean, it's like our medical guy, our chief medical, whatever the hell they're called at that level of government, he was like, you know, even if you get a negative test, you still might have it. And I'm going, what? Can you imagine if this is another thing? I know it's saying you're not pregnant, but you are.
But you are. That's awesome.
But
that's the COVID baby boom that everybody was talking about. The reality is there's going to be a COVID divorce boom, which is really what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Because I've never seen so many people walking in my neighborhood. It's like something's going on.
Well, you know, we were talking last night about conspiracy theories. You got any conspiracy theories you think about this stuff, or you just think it's just whatever it is?
There's so many. There's actually a buddy of mine in St. Louis that his brother was like a really wealthy city, like he was like a well-known guy within the city, and I knew his brother, and he was like, oh, that's that guy's brother, and he was a huge conspiracy theorist. He was all into like Monsanto and the milk and 9/11 and chemtrails was the one where he just like, I was like, I don't know, man, I can't talk to you about like that plane right there. They're doing it right now. But I want to know what he's thinking right now, because that guy was like, we called him Conspiracy Steve, and Conspiracy Steve was, everything was a conspiracy. So this is obviously, they postponed an election. The border of our country is currently on lockdown. Like, these are all grounds for Alex Jones being up till 3 a.m, like talking to everybody. And
you should hear what
if you have any mind of conspiracy, this is the time. This is your time.
Oh, yeah.
This is your Super Bowl right now.
Now, so let me throw this little nugget on the fire. So there are a couple of senators that are under investigation right now because they bought and sold certain stocks that were directly affected by this, and they did it ahead of time, where it was like they knew it was coming. So they're being investigated right now, and so
they were. I think there's four people in question that I'm aware of that you're talking about, and they were all in it was a classified information. It was like a classified meeting where they got all the information, and then the next day they went and sold their stock, which is playing your hand, and everything's recorded and all that stuff. The only way that you can get away with that is if something bigger happens, and basically something bigger did happen. It's like this got out of control and everybody's in their house. But those senators aren't going to, their name's always going to be tied to that selling of the stock, you know.
Yeah.
But I heard that there were 2 Canadian scientists that had like the COVID and they were transporting it to Wuhan in China. And that's like something I heard from someone back. That was like in January. And they're like, oh, and now this thing's gonna, and this was before we had the lockdown and everything. And they're like, and this thing's gonna shut us. This thing's gonna break us down. Like, it's like, it was like, they were like, it's like warfare, but it's not like the internet. It's not like bombs or anything. It's biological. So we have to change the way, which isn't that the best way to go after the United States? The only thing we do is services. We do food services. We do entertainment services. We do financial services. We do healthcare services. Every one of our we do entertainment services when we're giving them football and basketball and hockey. We are the service-based economy, and the only way to destroy that is with something like this. So how can you not be a conspiracy theorist, right?
I mean, you've got the one side is saying that this was a military operation, that the CIA planted this in Wuhan in the wet market. And then you got the other side of the nut job bag, that what's his face, Giorgio Tsoukalos, the guy from Ancient Aliens, you know, the guy with the hair.
Yeah.
This is an alien culling. This is it's how they're culling the earth of the unneeded populace. Like, they don't want the elderly, they don't want the weak. You know, the ones that they're only trying to get the strong. So this is their way of just culling out all the weakness out of the population so they can do something. It would make sense to get rid of the stronger ones, in my opinion, but I don't know. These people have so many amazing like conspiracies about what's going on, and all I'm thinking
that just shows that they've got so much they can control us that even the strongest one, they're not even scared of that. They're like, they'll do it to each other. Yeah. The truth is, we will do it to each other. You see it with like people telling other people what to do. I mean, I understand like people can die from this and everything, but I thought this was a country where you could speed, because if if you speed, you just pay a ticket, and you're free to break the law and do whatever the fuck you want. I don't know. I don't think that's right. Obviously, you don't want to be like fuck everybody else, because that doesn't play well on the formats, on all of the things, right?
No, and my thing is like I don't know all the facts. I don't think we're being told all the facts. So one thing that I've maintained throughout this whole thing is I don't think we're being told everything. I think there's something else going on that we're not aware of, and it's really easy to tell why they wouldn't tell the population the entire truth, because we are panicky animals and we're stupid as hell. As a population, humans are pretty dumb, panicky animals. And
I think it's awesome that we're like, we better be able to wipe our buttholes. That's all I know. Is that I don't care about anything else.
Right.
I just got to have a soft wipe. And
I forget who I was talking to. I was talking about a meme. It was like one of the best memes I've seen about the coronavirus. And it was like this doctor says, "I'm sorry, sir, you have COVID-19." Because that's impossible. I have 6 cases of toilet paper. Yeah.
That's awesome. I heard someone told me this the other day. They said actually pasta is the new toilet paper. And and I tried it. It does not work well. It is not.
I have a solution for people. All right. The solution is in abundance. You can always go to the grocery store and find it. The shelves are bleeding over with it. No one buys as much as you need because no one goes through this stuff as fast as you want to. It's pliable and it's biodegradable. It is flour tortilla shells. Come on.
Flour tortilla shells. I was hoping, I had my fingers crossed for like, come on, birdseed. Say birdseed.
Cat litter. Just throw it down.
Guys, cat litter works. It clumps it up. You'd be surprised.
Very clumpy.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I was
flour tortilla shells. That's a good one. Those are softer than corn. Don't do corn. That's the cheap stuff.
Corn's too rigid. You know, you got to heat those up, and that's just too much to do when you're.
You got to heat those up, but if you heat them up, it is kind of soothing.
You know, I had a bad case of hemorrhoids until corn tortillas.
Corn tortillas just make sense as far as wiping your butthole goes.
Right, the corn cob thing. Where are you going?
I'm getting a beer.
Oh, okay.
It's within little. You want to do a little beer fridge? Oh, there's my Corona, the Corona case.
Dude,
that's what we got.
You put the camera back on there again. Let's do an inventory.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, let's do an inventory. That is impressive. Look at this. We've got White Claw. We've got, what was next to the light? What's that?
Oh, that's a Mad Tree. It's a Wheat, Pray, Love.
Okay. We got light.
Which is that's the douchiest name of a beer. Look at this. It says it. It says Wheat, Pray, Love. It's so bad. Wow. But I love wheat beers. So I got Gumball Head over here.
Yeah.
And then got to get the Corona.
Yeah.
Blue Moon, Tall Boy.
Little
Miller Lite. And then there's like a little cherry cola hard. There's always some like hard soda in the back that's like made it for 3 years. It's been back there like, please take me.
You're gonna use it for like some cooking thing after a while.
Never.
It looks like a pretty snazzy garage you got there. It's pretty big and looks comfortable. And
it is. It is my and I see in these things. I've done some Zoom shows. I've done some Instagram open mics and stuff, and I talk so loud that Abby has just decided, she's like, you're going to be in the garage. That's where this is happening. I reached out, it was like a week and a half ago, to everybody, you and everybody else, to say, hey, you know, how'd you like to do something like this? And after the first couple shows, you know, Christina, like, usually, she'll take the animal, like the dog or the bird or whoever, you know, if the baby's up, she takes everybody in the other room. And she's like literally
the other side of the house, a couple doors shut in between us. And I'm doing, I get done with the show, I come in, I'm stretching, and she looks at me, she goes, "You talk really loud."
I don't know what it is about being on your phone like this, but maybe it's because I'm used to going on stage, and then when I get on stage,
we're performers.
I lift up the level of my voice a little bit. I emphasize a little more. I do a stage voice. I don't know, but I do it when I'm on these things, and I've been told I'm super annoying.
Did you come up with any new jokes during this time?
There's a few ideas, but the hardest part is that you don't get to do them. You can do them on your phone and stuff and those shows, but you don't really get to see if it really is funny. So you never know.
Well,
you never know.
I've got a dad joke. You ready?
Oh, you got one? All right.
I haven't written very many during this yet. I'm going to wait till all these videos and whatnot are all compiled before because I know there's stuff in here. But I came up with a dad joke. My daughter, and I've said this probably on 4 or 5 episodes now, so if you're listening to this again, here it comes. And comment, tell me what you think about this joke, because this is going to go on stage. My daughter, she had a blowout, all right? And when I opened up the diaper, I said to my wife, I said, I'm going to need your help. I need more than 2 hands for this. It's everywhere. So we're cleaning her up, and we got her legs in the air, and I look at my wife, and I said, "This is a Mexican poop." My wife goes, "A Mexican poop?" I said, "Yeah, it made it over the wall." Huh?
You got a Mexican poop there. That's a Mexican poop.
Made it over the wall.
Made it over the wall.
I'll leave.
I think that one's that's got legs. I did a joke about mass shooting, and doesn't
Oh,
go
that's
over. Yeah, doesn't land anymore. There's no more mass shootings. Coronavirus killed our national pastime of having a shooting every day. There's 3 things that I Google every day. I would Google fire, shooting, and economy. And I just Google them and see what comes up first, like regarding a fire, a shooting, and what's going on with the economy, and see what came up first. And shooting, it's been like all Canadian stuff. I'm like, whoa, hey, Canada, you're really taking it up a notch there, eh?
It's over hockey usually too.
Yeah, I'm Googling hockey normally. That's not
You're Canadian.
Generic. This is like statistics I'm doing. I'm trying to see how many shootings are actually in Ohio. You
have a joke you do on stage where you talk about where it's the turtles thing.
Oh yeah.
Do that a little bit.
That joke it's about, so the turtles just grabbed my attention because I noticed that all the servers at the restaurants would, like, when you have a paper straw, they'd be like, "It's for the turtles." It's because, it is the turtles. It's the turtle that changed the paradigm. It was in 2015. There's a viral video of a sea turtle with a plastic straw stuck up its nose, and it's being extracted, and this turtle's like making like sad turtle noise, like, and this video went viral. Everybody went crazy. They're like, "We got to stop the plastic straws. We got to save the turtles." And I remember the same thing happened early 90s when I was a kid. It was the plastic 6-pack ring.
Right.
And a turtle got caught. Little baby sea turtle got caught in that 6-pack ring. And then it grew bigger and it was all deformed. And someone took a picture of that. And that went viral. Everybody saw that. They're like, "Oh my gosh, we got to save the turtle. We got to cut the 6-pack rings. Everybody's cutting all their 6-pack rings." And now I'm thinking, like, how do we get one of these turtles into a mass shooting, right? Like, that might be the only way that we get some progress, is if we're like just at an aquarium somewhere. It's just like student, turtle, what? Now we got to do something. We got to pass some legislation.
There was one.
That's that joke is on. That's on my album. Dumber than a fish,
There you
smarter
go.
than a turtle.
I like that you brought that back. You brought it back.
Yeah.
Good. I like that. Yeah, there was one night you did that joke on stage. Like every night, except for this one night you did that joke. Like it was killing. This one night you did it, and it was like there was somebody in the crowd that like was related to a turtle or something because they just like you saying that.
Dude, Josh, I have so many stories of that. Of like one night, I think it was New Year's Eve in Cape Girardeau, Missouri, and one lady stood up and clapped, and no one else laughed or said anything. And it was just like this one lady was like, I feel you, man. And everybody else was like, not my turtle. You know, like,
and of course you're
they
like,
they totally, I would say they turned on me, but they turtled up. They put their little heads in their shells.
and of course
and they did
like,
not.
all right, mom, sit down, mom.
No, but, and I think, I was kind of thinking after the show, I was like, I think she ruined the joke. Like she clapped too soon and everybody was like, fucking not Rhonda. No, I'm not on board with anything she's on board with. So I think there's that dynamic, but that joke it definitely has that,
it's fantastic. Yeah.
Well, it can have that reaction too, where no one reacts, or it's supposed to be funny and like kind of like an aha. That's why I'm bringing back like moments from your memory from when you're a kid
right.
to try and nostalgic, and then like be like, now here's something that's going on all the time,
right.
and tie it together with something funny. And then I'm talking about Mitch McConnell looking like a turtle. I'm like, burner, dude looks like a turtle.
He
and
does.
Sometimes I'm just up there dancing and no one's reacting at all. But it's still great. That's what comedy's all about. About like, that's why this quarantine's so hard too, right? You don't get to do all that stuff,
right?
And find out like I'm just sitting there dancing like Mitch McConnell, being like burner, and everybody's like, no, not in my Kentucky.
I love taking those awkward moments and just turning on the crowd. Like, you know, I don't let them understand that like I recognize they turned on me. I did this one. I was working out this new bit about the postal service, and I said this one thing, and just like it was like crickets, and I was just like, I got the video, but I'll show it to you. I go, okay. I said, hey, it's a new bit. Fuck off. And that got
I like that. I do that a lot too. I didn't even. I don't listen. I don't do a good job of listening to myself. I hate my own voice, and I don't like listening to myself. But listening to my album, I realized that I do that a lot. Like it's just those little slippery, little lubricant things that I try to do to like ease the crowd back onto my side, you know? And it can be seen as, from someone that doesn't work the road as much, as like, you know, like, he's doing that, or it's tacky or something. But no, those are important things that I'm trying to get the people back on my side so they're on board with the next one, you know? Like it's an important part of doing comedy, and it only comes through experience.
Absolutely. No, absolutely, 100%. Hey,
yeah.
So where online can people find information about you?
You can go to GabeKea.com. That's my website. It'll pop up first when you put Gabe Kea into Google. All my Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, you can search on Gabe Kea. My name on Instagram is Abe Lincoln T-shirt. I've got some Abe Lincoln. I'm a little nostalgic about Abe Lincoln. Got a little tour here now. There we go. We got. There's Abe Lincoln. He's dressed up like a St. Louis Blues player. And I've got a little copper Abe Lincoln head. You know, he was born in Kentucky.
He was.
It's a big Abe Lincoln T-shirt extravaganza on my website and my Instagram. But Gabe Kea, yeah, GABEKEA is the best way to look me up. And you can
put that up on the screen when I put this out. Awesome. Yeah.
You can find there's clips There's clips of me, and then my album will be coming out through On Tour Records, based out of Lexington, Kentucky. So Ross is working right now with a buddy of mine from up here in Cincinnati. They're hammering out the last few audio edits, and we should be coming out with a release date within the next few months. We don't know exactly when, but excited about that. It's going to be great, and I'm looking forward to having that out there. That'll be great.
That sounds awesome, man. And I really appreciate you taking the time to do the show with me, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Josh. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, dude, anytime. We got to do this again. It's a lot of fun.
All right.
You join me on the ragging on the conspiracy theorist guys.
I love it. I always say, I did it at an open mic last night. I always write on, whenever someone posts like a conspiracy theory type article, I say COVID-19 more like COVID building 7, and then just see what people say after that. Actually, Dennis Piper posted that on someone's Facebook tonight, and he was like, "Doing your work for you, Gabe," and I was like, "Perfect."
I like
making fun of the conspiracy theorists.
I go to the Flat Earth People Society on Facebook. And
the Amish. Yeah, the Amish.
I tell them that COVID-19's flat. They lost their minds.
That's awesome. COVID-19, the only flat coronavirus. All the others are round.
All right, brother, we're going to close this thing out, man. Thank you so much for being on the show.
All right.
I'm Josh Sardam. We'll see you guys next time.
See you, man.
Hey guys, hope you liked the video, and if you like the show, make sure you throw a like down there somewhere. There should be a like, and there's a subscribe button over here.
And hit the bell.
Yeah, ring the bell, and check us out, man. Stay in touch with us. We're always putting out videos every week, and it should be a lot of fun, right?
Write us a letter.
Yeah, right as rain, right as the mail. Thanks, guys.